Can a cheap electric guitar like this Juarez be set up for a good playable action? Let's find out. Hi all, welcome back to the channel. Stay tuned if you can really fine tune your cheap electric guitar to a playable action. What is action? So action is basically the height of the string from the fretboard. When you play, you have to press down the string to the fret to play a note, and it becomes really hard on the higher frets when the strings are much higher to the frets. So this is where the action, which is the height of the string from the fretboard or the frets itself, makes a big factor in playability. In reality, a lot of the or almost all Strat style guitars like this Juarez here comes with a number of ways to fine tune action. Before we get into each of them, let's find out how you can measure action. What you need to measure action is capo, which is placed on the first fret, and then you can use either a good ruler or a fret action ruler, just like this. You can use a ruler if the ruler starts from the end. So if you see this one over here, so you can see that it starts from this end over here all the way from that to 5 mm, 10 mm, 15 mm, like that. If you have a steel ruler or a ruler in short, which starts the zero at this edge, which can be used for string action, or a string action ruler just like this, which will tell you a bit more precise reading about where your action is. Let me show you both ways. Once the capo is on the first fret, you measure the action on the 12th fret, just like this. So if you see this, so it is about, I would say, 2.25 to 2.5. You would see the closest measurement where the string is, and you would get similar readings when you measure it this way as well. Just that you have to probably understand where the markings are and take the reading. You would repeat the same thing on the lowest string as well, just like the same way, and here the action is about 1.5. So this action is pretty good, in fact. But let's say you have a guitar with very high action. Generally, players prefer a good playable action. As per standards, 2 to 2.5. So 2.5 on the bass side and then 2 mm on the thinnest string is generally considered as a good action if you measure the same way. So within that, this is the thinnest string is actually lower action here. So what is the drawback of a lower action? When you play the string at certain frets, the string would touch the other frets unnecessarily and would create what is called buzzing. So you don't need the strings to buzz, instead it should play properly. So which is where the action plays a very important role in playability. What are the options you have in adjusting action in a electric guitar like this? It doesn't matter whether it is a cheap electric guitar just like this Juarez, or it's a very costly Fender custom shop or whatever. These options are almost common. So the action is decided by the truss rod. What is a truss rod? There is a metal rod which is placed beneath the fretboard, underneath the fretboard. It is sandwiched inside this neck, and it is controlled by an adjustable nut through this hole. So you would see a hole here. Either a hole is on the headstock end, or some of the expensive guitars or the vintage style guitars will have an adjustment over here. So what that does is, it's usually a dual action truss rod. I can probably show you how a truss rod works, but in short, that ensures that the neck can be set up in a way which is not too, it's not bent. What happens with string tension is, the string is pulling this neck when under tension. So the neck has a tendency to bow this way. So when that happens, you would experience a higher action on the higher frets. So the action is determined by the truss rod, number one. Second, the height of the nut. That plays a very crucial role in having a good action as well. So generally you would want the nut or the slots where the strings are placed to be as low, not to create a buzz as well. Again, there is a balance between a good nut slot height to strings having a buzz as well. So you need to have that perfect nut slot over here. That, along with the truss rod, is your starting point. Then comes your saddles. So the saddles, as you can see, all of the saddles have adjustment screws. When you tighten it, the saddles can be raised. If you turn them anti-clockwise, the saddles can be lowered. So that also plays the way this action can be adjusted. One other parameter which determines the action of the strings is the angle of this neck to the body itself. Generally, Strat style guitars have a plane where this neck sits, which is almost parallel to the body. So the plane of this body to this plane is parallel. The fretboard is parallel to the plane of this body. So that is another parameter which determines the action. Generally, adjusting the neck angle is not very straightforward. So you can have a neck which is placed at an angle slightly tilted this way. This is common in Gibson style guitars where there is an angled neck, and then correspondingly there is a tunematic bridge which is also higher. It creates that arched style placement of the bridge, whereas this Strat style guitars have a design where it is expected to be almost parallel, and when the string runs through, it meets the bridge at a reasonable height as well. It's not too high. You can have a guitar which has a neck angle like this or like this. It is quite possible in a cheap guitar as well. Luckily this don't have an issue like this, but if you end up with a guitar like this, I will also show you how you can adjust it. It's not quite straightforward, but at the same time it's not something non-adjustable. There are solutions for everything in an electric guitar, unlike an acoustic guitar, but that's another thing I wanted to call out as well. We will look at each of these adjustments in detail in subsequent videos, but I hope you understand that understand what is action here first, how you can measure it, what are the options available in a guitar like this where you can adjust action. And then I certainly want to bust that myth that a cheap electric guitar like this always have a higher action and it cannot be adjusted. That's not true. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not subscribed, I would encourage you to subscribe. You will get notified for upcoming content from this channel, all the subsequent videos where I will talk about all these individual adjustments, what you can do in this guitar or any such guitar to make it play better. Thank you.